The Dallas Mavericks have started the 2025-2026 season with some problems. They're 2-3 to start the season with their first 5 games at home. They've been starting lineups with number 1 overall pick Cooper Flagg at point guard. Their offense has been lacking structure and consistency, and their defense is not what they envisioned. Nico Harrison, you ruined my life, and
you can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
Anyways, this is Son of a Sports. Let's get into it. Before I go into a massive rant, because that is what most of this video is, I want to talk about some positives because I know people are going to be mad. And I also don't want to just dog on a team. The defense has shined. I think even if the defense isn't where they want it to be, there are signs that this defense can be a top 10 defense. If Dallas is healthy, if Anthony Davis is healthy, if Lively and Gafford can be healthy for the full season, I think there are real signs that this defense can be top 10. They have not played to the level that you want, especially in their first few games. But there are signs that this defense could get to a level that they were hoping for. The transition defense has been really, really freaking good, and they are top 10 in defensive rating, or right around that area. I think offensively, Max Christie has shown in moments. I think Anthony Davis has been a capable number 2, but that's another issue in itself. We'll talk about that later. I think Cooper Flagg obviously has shown flashes. PJ Washington has been pretty solid. And we're going to talk about all these guys in individual sections in just a minute. But I just wanted to point out there are things to like. It's just everything together and how the Mavericks have played in general that make you pissed off. Let's be completely honest. This is a video where I'm pissed off. And I'm going to say things that sound extreme, but I have earned those emotions. And I think most Mavericks fans and analysts have earned those emotions. Anyways, here's the video. We knew the Dallas Mavericks wouldn't have Kyrie Irving for most of, if not all of, the 2025-2026 season. We knew that Anthony Davis had serious eye surgery in the summer. We knew Jason Kidd wasn't the best offensive coach. We knew most of the old coaching staff has left over the last year, and we knew things would be different on opening night compared to the start of the 2024-2025 season. There's an obvious elephant in the room, a cloud over this already gloomy ground that I will avoid for now. Let's act like that trade didn't happen. Let's act like what happened at the beginning of February didn't happen. Let's look at this roster as if the biggest trade in the history of the game didn't shape it. So, let's start with Cooper Flagg. The number 1 overall pick hasn't been great, but he's only a few games into his career, and he's the youngest player in the league. His defensive instincts are definitely there, but his shooting hasn't been great, and his offensive feel is certainly lacking for now. But let's talk about the defense. The instincts are there. The transitionary defense is there. He's incredibly quick and understands opposing offenses way better than a lot of guys that have come into the league. He wants to play defense, and that shows. A lot of guys just don't want to play defense, and I know that's a easy thing to say, but Cooper's game is revolved around his defense right now. But let's talk about the offense. He is playing out of position, and Coach Jason Kidd has kind of forced him to be uncomfortable by playing him at point guard, and that could benefit him long term. But it's pointing out a few things. His half-court offense has been his biggest weakness as a player. And where he has shined, though, is also transitionary offense. A true point guard would be perfect next to Cooper. Really, really allowing Cooper to have easy lanes to the basket, quick pick and rolls, pick and pops. I think Cooper can shine as some sort of off-ball, small forward, power forward next to a true playmaker. And another thing that I'll point out, too, is the older Mavericks really, really ignore him a lot of the time. They don't look to get Cooper involved, and there's minutes where Cooper will be in the game, multiple minutes of the game, where Cooper's just not involved in the offense, and it's definitely frustrating to watch, and I bet it's certainly frustrating for him. Let's look at the bigs, because they've had some issues to start the year. Daniel Gafford hasn't played yet, so that's been unfortunate, but Derek Lively has. His offense looks like how it was in the second half of last season. He can't really create for himself. His jump shot is not there. He hasn't really attempted one. He hasn't attempted one, to be honest. And he doesn't have a true playmaker to give him looks. Again, I'm bringing up a true playmaker because that's what this team desperately needs right now. Unfortunately for Lively, and I seriously mean this as an unfortunate because he seems to be a really good person, someone that got through a lot, and an electric player. When he has the right players around him, I think the rest of his career is very limited based on him having a playmaker. Because if you saw him his rookie year, that's where he played the best. Pick and rolls, having someone that could pass to him, cutting to the basket. He doesn't have that right now. He didn't have that in the last half of last year, and it's going to limit him long term. Defensively, I still think he's pretty solid. I still think he's really good. And I will always be grateful for him for the moments he gave me as a fan in 2023-24. I just want to see him grow, and you kind of haven't seen that as a creator of his own or someone that could make a jumper or anything like that. PJ Washington has been very solid. I've seen Mavs fans frustrated expecting him to play like an all-star, and that's just not really realistic for a guy like him. He's looked great offensively, though, and I think he's still a perfect fifth best starter on a championship team, and asking him to be anything more than the fourth or fifth best starter on a championship team is just not realistic. The guy's going to give you great defense and good three-point shooting, good pick-and-pop play, good off-ball action, but I don't think having him as a lead creator or a guy with the ball in his hands is going to give you an effective offense or anything near a championship-level offense. And that's not to disparage him as a player. It's not to put down him as a player. We know who he is, and asking him to be more than what he is, it's just not fair to him or his game. And with Klay Thompson, brother, the game has left you. We all thought that at this point in your career, you could still be a perfect catch-and-shoot guy. But it's just not there, brother. It's just not there. His shot diet has been awful, and it's been bad since his return in 2022 from the torn ACL and torn Achilles. It's definitely a mental aspect where he says, I have to prove that I can do things that I wasn't able to do before the injury. He forces fadeaways and shot creation that wasn't even there when he was at his best. I think the defense has been slipping, and even in the moments that he has good looks, and he hasn't always had great looks this season in the 5 games. He's not making his shots. He has not been able to put up more than 10 points in a game this season, even with Megan Thee Stallion at courtside. I love Klay Thompson, but it is certainly difficult to watch him out there on the court right now. I think Max Christie has definitely been able to fill that Klay role a little bit, being the catch and shoot guy, being the off-ball creator. I've enjoyed what I've seen from Max Christie, and he fell off a little bit after he got traded to the Mavericks last year, but I think he's been a very, very good role player to start this year so far. I don't have much more to add other than he's a really good role player. He's a good off-ball catch-and-shoot guy, and I think with a actual point guard, he would be perfect for this offense. And then you look at Caleb Martin, who has barely played this season, is barely functioning basketball player at this point. And this is a trade I won't ignore for now from the last season. Right after that trade, the big one, Mavs traded Quentin Grimes to the 76ers for Caleb Martin because they thought Quentin would cost a lot of money in the offseason. They thought defense wins championships, you know. Quentin has been incredible in Philadelphia off the bench. Probably the leading candidate right now for Sixth Man of the Year. I don't know. Right there. He's been really, really good. And he'd be perfect in Dallas. He would be perfect in Dallas. Like that stretch at the end of the year, everyone's like, that's fake hoops. That's fake hoops. And to start this year, he has immediately repeated that. He has immediately shown that wasn't fake. That he's there. And he's on a lower contract right now than Caleb is. Caleb's still owed money through next year. It looks to have aged as an awful deal for Nico Harrison. I don't even know how it's aged. It was immediately another awful deal for Nico Harrison that has looked worse over time. Other players to talk about, Brandon Williams. I'm very happy Jason Kidd elected to play him in the Indiana game. Without him, we would have lost. I think he needed to play this whole time. And again, I think he's been an underappreciated player on this roster since the big trade went down. D'Angelo Russell, I think having him play, he's not the best player in the world. His defense is weak. He has struggled to score. His game has definitely slipped over time, even when he's supposed to be at his physical peak. With all that said, I think having him on the floor is still beneficial to this offense because at least having someone that can play make at an average level does wonders for this team. Dwight Powell, I thank God that he was on that court in the Indiana game and that he was able to step in immediately. And the one time I'm happy Dwight Powell steps on the court, he does me right. So I'm appreciative of that. And then we got one final player. Look, the Mavericks don't have an elite player, like the elite player. They don't have a true number one. And that leaves me with talking about Anthony Davis. He's been out of shape, overweight, and struggling to play like himself this season. It's ironic compared to the guy that Nico traded for the reasons why he traded him, or the stuff that Nico put out on him. The Achilles injury that AD had that we don't know the extent of was mishandled by the Mavericks, forcing an injury-prone, overweight 32-year-old to play through an Achilles injury in October. What on earth are you doing? I understand what you have at stake here, the pressure you have, the public scrutiny. If Anthony Davis doesn't play again, if he gets injured like he did after his first game in a Mavericks uniform, you will not be able to show up to the arena, Nico Harrison. But it was mishandled. This team has been built dysfunctionally. The medical staff still seems to be a mess after the teardown that has occurred over the last 2 years. The reports of Jason Kidd being frustrated seem to be pretty accurate. And we all know who's to blame for this. Hello, Nico Harrison. I've mentioned your name slightly throughout this video. Nico Harrison. Every Mavericks game since that late night in February has made Nico's idiotic, moronic, selfish, egotistical, and league-shattering decision look worse and worse and worse. Nico Harrison, the man who built this team, the man who gutted the Mavericks health staff, the man who, when he was at Nike, led the presentation that led to Steph Curry leaving Nike for Under Armour, making them billions. By the way, Nico didn't change that presentation that said Kevin Durant instead of Steph Curry. He also allowed an executive to call Stefan with no correction. Nico Harrison, the man who turned a franchise built on loyalty into one of dysfunction and betrayal. And the Mavs were dysfunctional before him. Don't get me wrong. Donnie Nelson was a dysfunctional man. Mark Cuban was a dysfunctional man in that organization. But they didn't do what Nico did. Nico Harrison, the man who traded Luka Doncic. And don't get me wrong, Patrick Dumont is also not clear of blame. The Adelsons, Miriam Adelson's not able to be with the team because of, let's just say loss. So Dumont is the governor of the team, the guy to be the face as the owner. He doesn't know a lick about basketball. If you listen to him speak about the sport, it's clear he has no idea what he is talking about.
Hello, hello. Welcome to opening night. You're one of the great all-time Mavericks, and it is an honor for us to retire your jersey.
Don't start crying.
We're going to do it.
Wow.
You've earned it.
Wow.
You're one of the great all-time Mavericks, and we want to honor you with a jersey.
You're one of the great all-time Mavericks. You're one of the great all-time Mavericks.
Dude, it's clear in the cadence. He was given a script and just said that. And don't get me wrong, Aguirre deserves a jersey retirement. He deserves so much respect from this organization and this city. He was great. He was great for this franchise, and I am forever grateful for him. This was not disrespect to Mark. It's that showing, you can hear in the cadence he doesn't know what he's talking about. Dumont allowed Nico to do this, and it's pretty much what I'll say about him. The Adelsons don't really know the Mavericks' history and culture. They don't know anything about the city of Dallas. They don't really know anything about basketball. But the Mavericks are stuck with them for a while, unfortunately, and they just can't be fired tomorrow like Nico could. They aren't the ones who made this mess. They just allowed a sick, egotistical, narcissistic, delusional, and sad man to turn a team that was 3 wins away from hoisting Larry O'Brien into a perennial lottery team by trading away a player of a caliber that the franchise might never have again. Yeah, I said it, Nico. You're a sick man with sick thoughts. You should be embarrassed and ashamed. And when you ask God for forgiveness, He will hold your immortal soul in contempt. I don't mean harm to your family, friends, other than the yes men who allowed you to become so delusional, or those that work for you. I'm not the type of person to wish harm on people, Nico. I actually wish the best of health for you. I wish you every opportunity to undo your sins, which I know you won't. At the end of the day, it's sports. This is what I wish for you, Nico. I hope you live a long and healthy life to be reminded of what you cost this team, this franchise, this city, and every fan that celebrated our finals appearance in 2024. Some people might get to this part of the video and think, that's too far. Why would you say that about someone? This is just sports. And think of what I'm doing now as just taking the low-hanging fruit, talking about Luka Doncic, the biggest sports story of 2025, and just do another video about it. But no, I'm not. I'm talking about the Mavericks roster. I'm going to do my best to continue to talk about them. But it is clear that this roster is very, very dysfunctional right now. They're out of sync. They're out of sync. Everything about this franchise feels out of sync right now. Ownership suing the other team that shares the arena with them, the Dallas Stars, a franchise that has done more right by this city than any other franchise in the last, 3 decades. Yeah, I'm talking about you Cowboys. Rangers, thank you for winning a World Series. But we're about to be bad again. Anyways, ownership, we know their issues. They're not good people. They don't know basketball, and we're stuck with them. Coaching, Jason Kidd's frustrated. Let's not lie here. And this is a completely new staff that has not done a great job to start the year. Then you look at the roster in general right now, and they're completely out of sync. There's no real point guard. And yeah, Kyrie Irving could come back at any moment. But is Kyrie Irving at 34 years old after a fully missed year going to come in and save this team? Is Kyrie Irving going to be the number one option for this team when he couldn't be a number 2 option 2 years ago in the NBA Finals? I don't know, man. I really don't. But I do know this, that this could have been so much better. That we didn't need to be in this position. That, yeah, the past happened and we have to move on. But it's frustrating that this didn't have to happen. That someone wanted to be here and we forced him out. And he's doing great in LA. And they love him. And they're giving him respect and time to heal from even minor injuries, while we're forcing players to play through Achilles injuries. It's a frustrating time. I think Cooper Flagg is going to have a great career, and I'm not going to take away from the player that he's going to become because of what we traded away in February, because of what everything else is going on with this organization. I think there are flashes with him. I think we just need to give him time. I think at this point, the Mavericks won't do this because it's way too early in the season and things could turn around. Need to start looking at moving on from not only Nico Harrison, but older veterans in general. Getting what you can out of Anthony Davis. Getting what you can out of the older guys coming off the bench, the Klay Thompsons of the world. Because, not saying that this is a rebuild needing to happen, but Cooper's the guy you build around now. And you're not doing that. You're right now trying to force a championship because of the move you made that you didn't need to do. And as we wrap things up with this rant, I know there's people that are still going to say move on, that Nico Harrison did the right thing. I still see people defending him like crazy. I still see people saying it was right to move on from Luka. I still see people constantly say move on. It's going to be 9 months since this trade has happened in a few days, and from me recording this. And it's aged worse and worse by the day. Anthony Davis being rushed back from his injury to just getting hurt again in his first game as a Maverick. Anthony Davis getting hurt right at the beginning of the following season with him already overweight and out of shape. And Nico trashed Luka for all that. And they're defending Anthony Davis, saying he'll play himself into shape. Don't worry about it. Kyrie Irving taking on an offensive load so heavy that he tore his ACL. Klay Thompson not looking like the same player without Luka. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford falling off offensive production-wise without Luka. This team can be good defensively, sure, but they're nowhere near a title contender. And I think we realize that more and more every day. One man's decision ruined the reputation of a franchise, ruined the future of a franchise. And for a fan base that has been so blindly loyal for so long, it's unfair they have to go through this. In a city with the Dallas Cowboys as well, with people defending their ownership group, there's still people that defend the Joneses. It's funny that they're defending the Adelsons and Nico Harrison. Again, two different teams, two different situations. But, I mean, we just saw Micah Parsons get traded, and so many people defend the Joneses for that too. Either way, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. This is Son of a Sports. It's going to be a long season. Things can change, and this could age badly. But I doubt that. Anyways, I'll catch y'all next time.